One of the things that we're trying to hurdle right now in the Philippines are several things in the ecosystem. I mean, it spans from policy, it spans from social preparations or social preparedness of communities that need to be integrated into the whole inclusive business strategy. And therefore, the challenge of a group like PBSP, like to which I belong to, is really trying to figure out how these different stakeholders actually come into play and define the roles that they need to play to put an enabling environment, an enabling ecosystem for inclusive business or for companies to actually invest in more inclusive business models. And therefore, much of the work cannot solely be done by any single organization. The whole ecosystem building needs to bring multi-stakeholders into the picture: government, non-government organizations, companies together. And I think part of the challenge is really how do you get this diverse group of people agreeing on a common goal to actually create growth that actually affects more people, especially at the base of the pyramid. Of course, a lot. I mean, we're seeing that in the Philippines, there are a lot of barriers insofar as policy is concerned. And again, this is really the legacy of the past, legacy of laws that have been passed over the years, legacies of policies that have been created over the years. And again, it's also sort of woven into the whole political system of the country. And therefore, as you try to get companies investing into the Philippines, therefore you need to address some of these policy issues that are hindering investments into the country. Like for instance, foreign ownership is limited right now in the Philippines. And in fact, there's much discussion about how can investments be brought by companies, foreign companies, to actually increase the business opportunities there. But foreign ownership continues to be a debate in the country. Agrarian reform has been a policy that's actually disaggregated land to small leaseholders, small landholders. And in a way, this is a challenge so far as building scale economics in so far as production and linking supply chains. Therefore, the challenge of how do you now aggregate production among disaggregated producers continues to be now a challenge for social preparation. And therefore, one of the things that need to be reviewed also is this one. There are also banking laws that are actually very prohibitive, and this allows banks or private financing institutions to actually unleash very idle resources that are sort of stuck in the system because of such policies. Therefore, policy is really very important. We need to, in fact, in the Philippines, we're realizing we need to revisit a lot of these policies if we are to create, again, an environment or enabling environment for companies to adopt inclusive business. Well, I think social impact is so important, and I think I cannot underscore the importance of evidence, of quantifiable evidence of whether there is real social impact in initiatives that are being undertaken. I think a lot of companies in the Philippines are actually trying different models of how to link their supply chain with base of the pyramid market, or also innovating on products and services that could be more affordable to the base of the pyramid. But there's very little study or very little rigor in monitoring, for instance, what is really the social impact and at what scale is this being achieved. And therefore, part of the work that we need to do in the promotion of inclusive business is to show this evidence. And part of the challenge is to really develop the tools that will allow us to actually measure this. And I think that's going to be a major initiative that we need to take a look into. Well, I think there's just looking at what BCTA is doing insofar as on the global platform. I think we in the Philippines, out of PBSP, we see a lot of parallelisms. I mean, you're looking at measurements, you're looking at ecosystem building, we're looking at policy advocacy or advocacy in general. I think much of the work that we can do is really collaborate in our country and to see how we can scale up the work that you guys are doing on a global landscape to operate in our country. And in so doing, hopefully we can also share our own experiences that you can bring to the more global platform to allow other countries to benefit from what we're learning.